What's up, you guys? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. So, okay, I'm a little bit late on this. As a matter of fact, I'm about 4 or 5 months late on this topic. But the only reason why I'm bringing this up, Essence Magazine put out a list of the top film and television shows that came out in 2025. And on that list, they decided to put Ironheart. Now, this was not numerical. This was not a ranking system. This wasn't no countdown to the #1 best pick of the year. It was just a list to praise the black cinematography that came out in 2025. I have a problem with Ironheart being a part of this list because Ironheart as a series was not that great. The difficult thing about Ironheart is I feel like the support and praise for this series was not genuine. Because off rip, people had to be in defense mode because there were a lot of online racists dumping on the show, tarnishing the show without even watching one full episode. They just seen the trailer and they just went straight to racism.
Are they going to play black music so I know there's a black person starring in it?
I don't know this is a show about black people until I hear hip hop. Yeah, what's going on?
You could tell when she said stepdad that it was going to be about black people. What would her Jarvis be called?
Jarvisqua. I already said Jarvisqua.
Jaquisha. I think Jamichael works good.
Death to all of them.
It got so crazy that people were actually putting in fake reviews on Google, on IMDb, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty much giving the show negative reviews before the show even came out. It was like, how is that even possible? This resulted in a lot of popular black nerd creators, whom I love, coming out, defending the show, and fighting against the ignorance. Because of all the ignorance, the racism, and the foolishness, I do not believe that there was room for proper, valid, needed, thought-provoking criticism of the show. I felt like there were a lot of black nerds that stayed in defense mode and did not give proper critiques for the show because of all the hate that the show was garnering. So for a publication like Essence Magazine to call this one of the best projects of 2025, I would have to disagree. I would have to strongly disagree. So I'm actually glad that I'm doing this video now opposed to doing it a couple months ago because I just want to be away from all the noise. You know, I just want to give my viewpoint, an authentic viewpoint of what I believe from watching this without anybody else's opinions, without me having to defend black creators, black writers, black producers, and black actors and black characters. I just want to give my overall thoughts on the show without all the foolishness that, you know, we experienced surrounding Ironheart back in the summertime. So yeah, that's what we're going to do for this video. But before we dive deep into this theme song. Now, before we talk about the actual series, let's talk about Riri Williams as a character in the MCU altogether. So her first appearance was in Wakanda Forever. Now, listen, when I watched the movie Wakanda Forever, I loved the movie, by the way. I had no idea who Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, was. I am a comic book nerd, but 90% of my comics are X-Men comics. I thought this was like an original character in the Black Panther lore. And I would have to say, after watching Wakanda Forever, there was nothing about that movie that I made up in my mind to say, you know what? I want to see more of Ironheart. Like, I would not expect Riri Williams to get a spin-off series because that's like the last person I wanted to see after watching Wakanda Forever. I really wanted to see more of Namor. I wanted to see more of Okoye, and I wanted to see more of M'Baku. I did not want to see more of Riri Williams. So when the trailer came out, I was like, this girl looks familiar. Where do I know this girl from? And I was like, she was in Wakanda Forever, but that movie came out like 4 years ago. What are we doing here? So, yeah, I was just more confused when the series was announced. Upon further digging with my own personal research to know who Riri Williams was and figure out who she was as a character, I discovered that Riri Williams is not that popular in Marvel Comics. Now, one of the main reasons why Riri Williams is considered to be one of the most hated characters among the Marvel Comics universe is because how she was presented. Riri Williams was presented to be the replacement of Iron Man. Now, let me just say, in general, Marvel Comics does a terrible job with legacy characters. You're never going to see a Marvel version of a Teen Titans. You know how Batman has like 10 different Robins? He has Batgirl, he has Batwoman, he has Huntress, he has Nightwing, he has all these characters that are part of the Bat family. You know, Aquaman has Aqualad, Superman has Superboy and Supergirl. When it comes to Marvel, they do a terrible job at legacy characters because they present these characters as replacement. Riri Williams in Civil War II, she was supposed to be the replacement of Tony Stark's Iron Man, even though there was no type of connection, there was no type of relationship. They just introduced her and then dumped her in the main event and was like, hey, you guys, this is the new Iron Man, except we're going to call her Ironheart. And a lot of people was like, what the are we doing here? The only legacy character, in my viewpoint, that's had any type of success and love and acclaim to his name is Miles Morales. And granted, he was hated when he was first introduced to the comics because he was supposed to be the new Spider-Man and everybody thought he was going to be replacing Peter Parker. Now, the only thing that saved Miles Morales is the Sony Spider-Verse trilogy. You know, people saw him in those beautifully done movies. I can't wait for the third one to drop. What is taking so long, Sony? Anyway, people saw him in the Spider-Verse trilogy and it was like, oh my God, we love Miles Morales. Yeah, because he had a proper introduction away from the idea of trying to replace Peter Parker. So again, with this presentation of Riri Williams and this idea of, oh, she's going to replace Iron Man, people was not with her. So off rip, Riri Williams, on top of her being, you know, a black character, you already know racism and bigotry comes with that. Riri Williams turned out to be one of the most hated characters in the Marvel Comics universe before she was actually given a chance. Now, the head writer of the whole Ironheart television series, I pray I pronounce her name right. If I mispronounce it, I do apologize. Her name is Shanaka Hodge. She said this in a podcast interview talking about the character.
So we spent 3 or 4 weeks just knowing the backstory of the character so that you can put the characters into scene knowing them well enough to know how they're actually going to interact with each other as opposed to like trying to figure it out.
So are you writing like biographies?
We did biographies. We pulled, like we started with people's own personal stories and we're like, can we pull that in? Or is this something the character is like? Riri in a lot of ways is like me. Her peach ring addiction, her inability to make eye contact from time to time. Yeah. I think Riri, both in publishing and in my imagination, is neurodiverse and neurodivergent like I am. I identify as autistic, and I think Riri is, we see her process through a whole bunch of her own neurodiversity. So yeah, she's my mom, she's me, but she's really the young autistic girl watching our show who has a really big brain and is not quite sure where to put it and is told all the time that she's behaving badly and might get kicked out of school.
Now, even though her intentions are good, one of my criticisms is I really wish she would have done her due diligence to not just research who the character is in the comics, but research Riri Williams' impact. And what I mean by impact is how well is she liked among the comic universe? Because if she would have had that knowledge, her take on Riri Williams would have been completely different. With Shanaka being the head writer of this series, I really feel like she should have approached this character differently. I feel like she should have taken the opportunity to reimagine Riri Williams as a character. Instead of trying to focus on comic book accuracy, this is where your imagination should have came in. And you could have gave Riri Williams a different status quo to what she is known about in the comics, which so happens to be a negative depiction. The main criticism I see with Riri Williams' comic portrayal is that she is extremely arrogant. She has a smart mouth. Her personality can turn a lot of people off because she prides herself into proving that she is the best and proving people wrong, even though nobody has doubted her.
My professor said I'd never be able to do it. To be young, gifted, and black, though, right?
So you have that on top of the fact that she was supposed to be a replacement of Tony Stark, but then also people are saying she has not earned her way to be a superhero. I just feel like Shanaka should have taken all those elements and created an entirely different character for Riri Williams to personify in the MCU. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. So with that being said, let's talk about the series. But before we dive directly in the series, we have to take it back again to Wakanda Forever.
Gather your things and come with me, right now. I got differential equations class in like 15 minutes. Okay.
Her introduction and her portrayal in this movie, it went backwards. Extremely backwards. I will probably call it character assassination type of backwards in this Disney Plus series. I was just like, whoa. Okay, hold on. Why did Shanaka Love, why did you do it like this? So in Wakanda Forever, Riri Williams is a college student, and unknowingly she was hired by the US government. She just thought it was an assignment to create a tracker of vibranium. This garnered the attention from Queen Ramonda and the Wakandans and Namor and the Atlanteans, and both societies were out to get Riri Williams. Now with Riri Williams' journey in Wakanda Forever, you can see an established connection, a sisterhood relationship between Shuri and Riri Williams. That's number one. Riri Williams, with the help of the Wakandan technology, developed her very own armored suit. Shuri, near the end of the movie, she was able to fix her deceased father's car, and you can just see on Riri Williams' face that she was so touched by this.
Took me a while to find all the parts from the river, but it was worth it. Bring it in, man.
Now, as I said earlier, when you're watching this series, it feels like they're taking Riri Williams backwards. Because Shuri, through her interventions, she put Riri Williams on a clean slate by the end of the movie. But then with this series, it's like Riri Williams took this clean slate that Shuri has given her and decided to f it up again. She's hustling people for money. She's taking bribes. And the main reason why she's money hungry now is because she's trying to recreate an Ironheart suit, because Shuri would not allow her to keep the Ironheart suit that she made in Wakanda.
Your suit, it's a great design, but can't let you leave with it. It's all good.
So it's like she's supposed to be in college and she's supposed to be advancing her studies in college, and she's so damn smart. She is a prodigy. She could have easily been the valedictorian, but instead she's disobeying her professors. She's being rude and disrespectful to the staff at her college, and she ends up getting expelled.
I thought you could convince the board to extend my grant just one more year.
You sold completed assignments to students at every school in the area.
And the financial impact of yesterday's incident, it's too late.
You're expelling me?
And she takes the Ironheart suit and she flies back to Chicago. And it's like, why did we go in this direction? Shuri gave her an out, and instead of Riri Williams going out, she just went back into the bullshit. What is happening here? Wakanda Forever came out in 2022. Ironheart, this television series, came out in 2025. So it's been 3 years. And I'm not saying that our actual years has to line up with the years within the MCU, but it's like, you guys really could have utilized that time to really advance Riri Williams. But instead, you had her start back from ground zero, and it's like, no, absolutely not. That was just such a missed opportunity. Now, back to my earlier point, remember what I said about reimagining this character? Okay, so Tony Stark, Iron Man, his character died in Endgame. That film came out in 2019. Wakanda Forever, where Riri Williams was introduced, that film came out in 2022. There is no connection between Tony Stark and Riri Williams because Tony Stark was already dead before Riri Williams even hit the screen in the MCU. Again, they're trying to be comic book accurate, but you can't be comic book accurate because of the events of the MCU. So, if you guys want to establish a connection between Riri Williams and Tony Stark, granted, I know this is their main goal to do, because if you look at all the promotional material surrounded by the Ironheart series, you can see Robert Downey Jr. interviewing Dominique talking about this Ironheart series.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Guess why I'm calling? It's June 24th, which is
It's Dad's birthday. Happy birthday.
my dad's birthday. Thanks, very considerate. Also, God, you've been doing too much press. Ironheart premieres today. It's all been leading to this. Isn't that exciting?
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you for the call.
17 years from the birth of the MCU
Oh
to
my
the
God.
premiere of Ironheart, and we're in this love together.
Man.
So psyched.
Man.
Is this supposed to get me hyped to watch the show? Why are you trying to create a false connection between Riri Williams and Tony Stark? It doesn't exist. It never existed. But now you guys are trying to like retcon the situation like Iron Man didn't die in Endgame. What? If you guys were really interested to bring Riri Williams into the MCU and actually have a connection with Tony Stark, then you guys should have introduced her in the second or third Iron Man movies, because both those movies were terrible. So that could have been an opportunity for y'all to kind of like fit supply, especially the third movie. The third movie was straight up, the third movie was just straight up trash. But y'all could have introduced Riri Williams in that film, but y'all didn't do that. So now that Tony Stark is actually dead, you're using Robert Downey Jr., who played Tony Stark, as a way to say, like, yeah, there is a connection between Riri Williams and Ironheart in the MCU. No, there's not. Like, even in the promo trailers, they had Riri Williams talking about Tony Stark's legacy, but then in episode 1, they had Riri Williams dumping on Tony Stark.
I want to continue Mr. Stark's legacy and revolutionize safety. And he contributed immensely to the field, so I won't roast Tony Stark off rip.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. Y'all pretty much just showed Riri Williams being a hypocrite. But again, y'all are so focused to making sure that us audience members know that there's a connection between Tony Stark and Riri Williams because it is in the comics. No. Absolutely no. If they wanted to provide a mentor-mentee ship for Riri, Shuri was right there. You can see in Wakanda Forever that a beautiful sisterhood was developing. Shuri was big sis, Riri was the little sis. It's a crime that in this series they didn't make a follow-up. They didn't have Riri contact Shuri at all. They didn't have her idolize Shuri, but they made sure to have Riri idolize Tony Stark.
I want to continue Mr. Stark's legacy and revolutionize safety.
Now, again, with reimagining the character, what Shanaka, the head writer, could have done, they could have allowed Riri Williams to graduate valedictorian of this college. They could have had her pursue an internship at Stark Industries. They could have had her become wealthy, become a shareholder of Stark Industries, and they could have had her be the main CEO, working her way up to the top, or one of the head scientists of Stark Industries, where she is really romanticizing Tony Stark and she is really valuing the legacy that he left behind for her. Y'all could have used this series to show Riri Williams working her way up to the top to honor Tony Stark's legacy by working for his company. Not the keys of Stark Industries being handed to her, but using her own intelligence and her own perseverance to rise to the top. If that was the main goal, was to make a connection between Riri and Tony. But because you guys didn't do that, y'all gotta stop trying to sell us this, because it's not working. Another route that they could have done when reimagining this character and wanted her to have connection to Tony Stark, they could have established a relationship between James Rhodes, War Machine, and Riri Williams. And this would have been perfect because War Machine was not properly utilized after Endgame. As a matter of fact, in the Secret Invasion storyline, they had Rhodey being replaced by a Skrull. And that Skrull had to be killed off, and Rhodey was found in a basement and hooked up to a machine. He can barely walk because of the events that happened in Civil War. And then it's like, well, damn, how long was Rhodey in that sub-basement? So instead of even doing all that, y'all could have just had a relationship build between Rhodey and Riri. That would have been perfect. Black power all day if y'all wanted to do that route. But y'all didn't do that. This is why I'm saying it is important. When you are a writer for a series, you have to bring in creativity. This is a fictional world full of superheroes. You can go wherever. And unfortunately, Riri Williams went nowhere except the gutter.
When you're ready for the respect and the money you deserve, come work for me.
You don't have that kind of money.
My overall problem with this series is that Riri Williams was not shown to be a hero. We can't even say she was taking the anti-hero route. She was just not a hero whatsoever. She ain't no diva! So in this 6-episode series, she decides to join a group of thugs, a group of thieves. And their main goal is to steal from billion-dollar corporations.
Ready to sign? This piece of paper? Sign the contract. Sign it in ink or sign it in blood. All right. She signed.
Pleasure doing business with you.
You go get a damn job.
Yeah.
Now listen, I am anti-capitalism all day. I mean, just look at our government. The billionaires are just taking over. So I get it. I definitely get it. But I want Riri Williams to ask herself, what is she doing all this for? You're trying to get money so you can fund yourself, have access to the technology to create an Ironheart suit. You're creating an Ironheart suit. Why? Because if you were a hero, then you would be displaying heroism without the suit. But you're not even doing that. Without the suit, you are being a thief. You are money hungry. You are joining a gang that has no type of care or feeling for hurting innocent people. When you guys are stealing out of these billion-dollar corporations, the only people that are working there are the working class people that's trying to make a living for themselves. The security guards, the scientists, whoever's in that building is not the CEOs. So you're not necessarily hurting them. You're just hurting the innocent people. That's their job. And you guys are using ruthless force in order to steal assets from these companies. In this series, Riri Williams is not a hero. And I thought that was the main point of the whole MCU arc. When you guys are introducing characters to be adapted in film, adapted in from the comics, they're supposed to be heroes. Ironheart is supposed to be a hero. So you cannot tell me that you watched this series and was like, oh wow, like Ironheart saved the day. No, she didn't. She involved herself in a group, a dangerous group, for her own intentions, to become rich and gain more tools to fix her Ironheart suit to become more powerful. Ironheart did not save not one person in this series. She saved herself. Now, even though there are scenes of Riri having second thoughts joining this gang in order to complete these heists, and she even questions the motives and question if people are getting hurt and questions if she's doing the right thing.
Look, I don't want to hurt anyone.
It's not like that.
Okay, so what do you do?
The reason why I keep emphasizing that she's not a hero is because at the end of the day, she still continues the behavior with them. If she was a true hero in this scene. She would have turned everybody in, and she would have confessed her own wrongdoing in each situation regarding the heist. But she didn't do that. So a lot of people are thinking she's a hero because she actually defeated all the gang members and because she actually defeated the Red Hood in the end. But the bottom line is she's not a hero. And we really need to stop pretending that this series showed her in the best light. There was no type of heroic behavior regarding Riri Williams.
I'm only doing this because I have to. Not because I'm a bad person.
You're joking, right? Everyone you're talking about is a criminal, including you.
No, I'm not. What I'm building is
Important?
iconic.
She committed theft. She robbed people. And she was banking on thousands, if not millions of dollars. How was Ironheart a hero? The goal was to make Ironheart be a hero. As I was saying earlier, towards the head writer, Shanaka, you really could have reimagined this character to be way more than what was presented in this series because she was already unlikable. So you took this unlikable character and you made her do villainous acts, illegal acts where people were actually hurt. And because she fought the Red Hood and defeated him, she's supposed to be seen as a hero? Not so much. The execution with this series was just all over the place. I'm surprised it was greenlit because it's like there was no creativity with this Riri Williams character. One of the last things I wanted to talk about regarding this series was the introduction of Mephisto. Jesus. Okay, according to the head writer, Shanaka Hodge, she said in a podcast that the Mephisto idea came from Kevin Feige himself. Take a look.
Even a note from Kevin Feige.
Kevin is specific. He's conscientious. We have a big spoiler in our show, and he's the one who suggested it. So, and it was on the heels of this could be more interesting. How about you take this?
Oh, she used the word spoiler, but let's be clear. There was nothing in this series that was spoiler worthy besides the introduction of Mephisto. I promise. You can watch all 6 episodes and just be like, okay, what's the big spoiler alert? It was the introduction of Mephisto. So she was definitely talking about that. So Kevin Feige is the one that decided to put Mephisto in this series. A waste. An absolute waste. Number one, after defeating the Red Hood, she still keeps the cape. I hope you guys know that. She still kept the cape. So it's not again, this is why I said earlier, it's not like she defeated the Red Hood and became a hero. She didn't. She still kept the cape, and her defeating the Red Hood was more so of her just defending herself because she actually killed his best friend. But it does not matter because that whole group is a group of thieves and robbers anyway that's been hurting innocent people throughout the duration of the series. So it is what it is. But back to this ending part. So she kills the Red Hood. Then she decides to have a sit-down dinner with Mephisto. And Mephisto is just the Lucifer of the Marvel comics in general. And she makes a deal with Mephisto. And that's, hey, give me your soul and I will bring back your best friend, Natalie, from the dead. And that's exactly what Riri Williams did. This pissed me off so bad because I was like, what? It just made no sense. It just made no sense. I understand the element of, people grieving, but this wasn't it. This was absolutely not it. Now, hold on. Aside from Riri Williams, with Mephisto is a Thanos level villain for those that they may not read the comics. Mephisto is a very, very big deal. Now, if Kevin Feige wanted to introduce Mephisto in the MCU, then he should have used Mephisto because Mephisto is a very powerful, evil magician. He should have used Mephisto in the second Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness, with Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. That's where Mephisto should have been introduced. Not him appearing like some magical genie for Riri Williams just to claim her soul. So yeah, that was a waste of a villain, but that's one of my biggest criticisms with the MCU. They are always wasting the biggest and baddest villains for the dumbest. So yeah, I was like really just like, why would y'all introduce Mephisto in this series? That's number one. Number two, back to Riri Williams. The goal of this series should have been to show Riri Williams as a hero. That was not done. People are believing that she is a hero because she created an Ironheart suit. That is not the reason why she's a hero. Her having the suit means absolutely nothing. Her defeating the Red Hood means absolutely nothing. Her rekindling things with her mother means absolutely nothing. Her being reunited with her deceased best friend Natalie via Mephisto meant absolutely nothing. Riri Williams was not demonstrated to be a hero in this series. If you guys were going to introduce this type of character to the MCU, allow her to be a hero. Reimagine this character's origin story. Reimagine this character's personality. Reimagine this character's behavior from the comics and elevate it. If you wanted to establish a relationship between Riri and Tony Stark, there were multiple ways to do this. Don't just stick it in the promos for us to believe it because it's unbelievable. They failed this series because they did not make Riri Williams be a hero. Money was the goal of Riri Williams, not saving the day. And yes, you can say, well, Tony Stark is a billionaire and he had everything handed to him. That's fine. But at the end of the day, Tony Stark saved the world. Riri Williams saved herself. And that was just such a missed opportunity. And as I said earlier, I felt like a lot of the popular Black nerds creators, instead of giving valid criticism to this show, they were in defense mode, defending this show from all the negative backlash it was receiving and all the racism that it was receiving. And that unfortunately drowned out and did not leave any opportunity for people to really critique the show for what it was. It was a misjustice because this was an opportunity to bring a Black woman character, a Black woman superhero character to the forefront. And it was a missed opportunity. And now, you know, the Doomsday trailer is going to be out soon. Do you guys want to see Ironheart in Doomsday? Was this a good setup? If this is her origin story and this is her whole shebang, was this a good setup to excite the audience to see Ironheart fight alongside all the Avengers against Dr. Doom in Doomsday? I'm going to say no. I don't even know if the actress, Dominique, I don't even know if her name was in one of the chairs. But I don't expect to see Dominique in Doomsday. She could have been in Doomsday if this series was done right. But it wasn't done right at all. And it was just such a missed opportunity and wasted potential. Those are my thoughts with the Ironheart series. Let me know what you guys think about the series. Just make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. I'm waiting for this damn Doomsday trailer. Damn.